Hi, angels, and welcome. I'm your host, Lisa Everding, founder of Earthy Angels, and I'm on a mission to empower women to live authentically and to take exquisite care of themselves. You can find us on earthyangels.com or head over to our show notes to follow us on socials. Hi girls, this episode today came about after having some chats with a few of the girls in the studio about their intimacy and connection and how it has improved since they've started taking better care of themselves. Some girls have had some really big awakenings since doing the inner work that has impacted their sex life, impacted their relationships in ways that they never have expected. And I know, being married to my high school sweetheart, being together for a very long time, it just keeps getting better and better. I keep getting better and better in my attitude, in my energy, and feeling like an absolute goddess. And so I want to share with you how everything is energy, it's all magnetic, and how your confidence can improve, how you can take better care of yourself, and it ripples out into all areas of your life, including your intimacy, your sex life, and your relationships, and it can absolutely get better with age. So let's dive in, girls. Okay, girls, this is one of those subjects which I guess can be a little bit taboo, a little bit unspoken about, but everyone wants to know, everyone wants to ask, everyone wants a little bit more maybe advice or perspective, and we just all want to have a healthier, improved, really great sex life, intimate connection with our partner, connection, passion, excitement, love, all of those things. And I am here to chat to you about it because this podcast is all about all things health, fitness, mindset, spirituality, our relationships, and how all of the things that we do to look after ourselves, how they impact all other areas of your life, including your relationships. And I think that I might have a bit of credibility to speak about this subject. I've been with Tom since we were 16. So we've been together. I am almost 46 this year. So we've been together for a long time, and we have got, that makes me feel really old. And we have had, overall, you know, like we have got, a great connection, a great marriage. He's my best friend. He's the love of my life. I adore him like you wouldn't believe. And we've had our ups and downs throughout our whole marriage, like everybody else. No marriage is perfect. Every relationship goes through rocky times, times of disconnection. We've been through all of that. So I am kind of here to talk to you about, over my 30-year, wow, that sounds so old again, 30 years of experience of being together, things that I have done over the years, or we have done over the years, which I have felt, well, I'm speaking from me and what I have done because I'm in control of me, and the things that I've done to help myself, help my confidence, help my health, help my body, help my energy, and how that's impacted areas of my life. So I can sit here and talk to you as the 45-year-old version of me, knowing I've got experience and wisdom under my belt, which might have been a little bit different if I was the 25-year-old version of me sitting here talking to you. So I can absolutely speak from experience and from a successful marriage. And look, I don't even like to use the word successful. There's, I don't think that everything is perfect or successful, but overall I'm happy, right? So being happy, and Tom is happy, that is, in my eyes, the definition of success, is having a fulfilled, happy overall. It's not always happy all the time, but you know what I mean, life. And, and that might be different. Like I said, I'm sitting here as the 45-year-old version of me, and I could come back and talk to you later on, and that might be different again. Like, for instance, I was talking to one of our best friends. He is a top psychologist, and we have all sorts of raw conversations, funny, real, like some really deep conversations. And I was talking to him one day, and I said, Cobus, like, how long, like, we were just talking about intimacy and sex, and I'm like, how long can, from a human perspective, can you keep having a great sex life for? Like, when's it going to end? I'm worried, like, I'm hitting 45. How many years have I got left of this? When is it sort of going to stop? And because, like, your physical body changes and declines. And he was talking about, like, there are people well into their 70s. I can't remember if he says 70s or 80s, but people well into that area of their life, that time in their life, that are still going hard. And I'm like, great, like, that is, that makes me happy, that gives me hope. But I can't remember all the details of what he said, of what contributing factors. There was a whole heap of different contributing factors, of course, like the type of relationship you're in, the state of your mental health, the state of your physical health, the confidence that you have in yourself as a woman, like all these different factors. But all I took out of it is, yes, you can keep going until your 70s or 80s. And I'm like, great, that's all I need to know. So I can talk to you from this 45-year-old version of me. And the reason it's coming up for me today, I guess, is because since coming back from retreat, since having some conversations with people in the community, it's just come up in the last couple of weeks, actually, the topic of sex and the topic of intimacy and the topic of relationships, that I was just reflecting on it on my walk this morning. And I get a lot of insight, like you guys know, on my walk, where I will jot down a whole heap of notes or wisdom or source connection will come through. And I'm like, okay, I think I can share. I think I've got some insight to offer on the podcast about this that may help the listener, or may help you shift something, or have a little bit of a different perspective, or take something away that might help you in your life. And that is the purpose of why I am here. And I also understand that today's subject can be a little bit triggering or traumatic or touchy for some people who may have some past trauma wounds, or may have experienced some kind of past trauma in their life where, yes, you would probably benefit from seeking help from a professional, from an energy healer, from a professional psychologist, from a counselor, from somebody who can dive into that with you on a deeper level. I am talking about I don't even like to use the word surface level, the daily level, things that we can do in our daily lives that can help us improve our intimacy and our relationships. But I do understand that there may be some professional advice needed. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you up front before I dive into today's episode as well. But the one, I guess, real deep takeaway from this, if I look back at the last 30 or so years of being together, the one thing I can hand on my heart say that I have done from a very young age is take care of myself. Not in a vain way, not in a selfish way, just in a way that I've prioritized my health and my fitness. And then over the years, that has changed in many different ways of what I've done for fitness, of what I've done for my health. It's changed as kids have come along, as I've gone through the stages of kids having, going through pregnancy, having postpartum, having babies, having toddlers, having children at school, having teenagers, and going through all the sex stuff with teenagers. So I've gone through this kind of big, long process of looking at it from a whole heap of different perspectives, but I can always go back to, no matter what stage of my life I've been at, I've always taken care of myself. And I've always taken care of myself from a physical perspective. As I got a little bit more wiser, more of a mental perspective, and then as I started to get a little bit deeper into the spiritual stuff, I have really prioritized that as well. And I can see how all of them together have impacted myself, impacted the way I feel about myself, impacted my energy, impacted my confidence, impacted my worth, which all in turn affects your relationship, affects your marriage, affects your partnership, affects your relationships, all relationships, not just your partnership, but relationships with your children, what you teach your children, the energy you have for your children, those people around you, your loved ones. So I have always invested time into taking care of myself in the form of health and exercise, because I have just known that those habits have been my foundation, and I will continue those habits for a very long time. In fact, I had a client in just yesterday, and she's a nurse, and she was saying that she had a patient who was in her 90s, and this patient was telling her that she was doing Pilates right up into the time that she was 88. And she said, I could see it in her body. I could see it in her core strength, the way she just popped herself up out of bed and got up, that she has been embodying health and fitness. She said she was telling me about all the different things that she did throughout of her life for exercise. And she said that I could just see it as she has gotten older. You can see the strength, you can see the mental health, you can see the physical health from taking care of herself. So one thing I've embodied from back from the days I was a personal trainer too is optimal health and fitness for life. Like, I need to be taking care of myself forever for me to get the most out of my life and the most out of the time with my loved ones, and teach that to my kids. So my habits have always reflected health and wellness and fitness. And I have had, like many people say to me over the years, like, I don't have time for exercise. I don't have time for the spiritual stuff. I don't have time to work on myself. And I'm like, how can you afford not to? As blunt or as triggering as that may sound, it just has to form a priority. And I've looked at the habits that I have done, and I might have, there's some habits that I will not take up for, and I will change those habits for, in terms, like it all comes down to what we prioritize. So like, I don't spend a lot of time watching TV. I would rather dive into a book. I will get up early. For many years, I've been up at the crack of dawn, and I'm just in, like, for me, I like that. You may not like that. It doesn't matter. You have to do what works for you. But I found time, I have made time, no matter what's been going on in my world, to take care of my health and fitness, because I know that it impacts my marriage, and it impacts the way that I feel about myself. It impacts the energy that I carry in the household. And happiness and confidence are one of the great foundations for any sex life, for any intimate relationship that you have. It comes back to how the energy that you carry in yourself. So habits have formed over the years. I look at my habits, and I can hand on my heart say that I have had some really great habits which have helped impact my marriage. And I know that it has impacted my marriage in a positive way. And there have been times I've fallen out of those habits. Absolutely. Am I perfect 100% of the time? No. There have definitely been times that I have fallen out of those habits, or life has happened, pregnancy, whatever has happened, but then I get back into it. I've always disciplined, had enough drive in myself, because I knew my why, and my big why has always been health and energy and vitality for me, my family, and my husband, and to teach them those habits, so that I've always, even if I've fallen off the rails, I've gotten back on track, because I know how important it is to impact those areas in my life. So maybe have a look at your habits and what kind of habits that you have adopted over the years. You may be sitting here going, I actually really need to shift some habits. I need to change some habits. Like, I was talking with a couple of the girls just this week, and we were talking about alcohol, and one of the girls was saying how she has given up alcohol, and how her partner has given up alcohol, and just how much that has impacted her physically, in the way she feels about herself, how it's impacted her sex life, how it's impacted the energy that she has, how it's impacted her state of mind, because alcohol can be a depressant. Alcohol can interrupt your sleep. Alcohol can affect your libido. So maybe try removing alcohol. And I know you may not be a massive drinker. Look, I'm not a drinker. I am sometimes if I go out and have a function, but I'm talking about daily. I'm not a drinker, but I know a lot of people go to a glass of wine when they get home, or a couple of glasses of wine, or consistently having that little bit of alcohol just to help as a release, to help calm them. That over time, you've just got to ask yourself, how is that impacting your mood? Do you feel you're in a somber, depressive state? Do you feel that maybe giving up the alcohol can help you? Or maybe, with your partner, I know that's a touchy subject. I'm not here to say what's right or wrong. All I'm doing is just giving you thought-provoking information, and you do with it what you will. I'm just the messenger. But maybe removing alcohol. And I've seen people in my community time and time again. So I'm not just speaking from my experience. I'm also speaking from experience of what I've helped my members with, or what they've taken away from teachings that have impacted their life. And I know a lot of people that have given up the alcohol and have said that it has just changed them in so many different ways, because not only is it, it can be a depressant, it can impact your libido, but also it can also, when you're in that habit of drinking, you might not, it's like this kind of just this cycle. Like if you're in the habit of drinking, you might feel that you're not sleeping well, so you don't have as much energy to get up in the morning and exercise. You might snack when you drink, or have chips or different savory things when you're drinking. They all have this flow-on effect, whereas it can have the opposite effect when you're taking care of yourself, when you're in that routine of exercising. You don't want to blow it with alcohol. So coming into that exercising habit, or that health habit, can help you drop some of those bad habits. So you eat better, you're moving, you're drinking more water, you're taking better care of yourself, your energy's better, your mindset's better. You just feel that you don't want to have the alcohol, or you might slip back into bad habits and have it, and then you go, actually don't feel that good. So just experiment, just see how it impacts you. So look at your daily habits and how they impact your life, how they impact your mood, how they impact your energy at home, and how they impact your intimacy and your energy levels for your partner. Can you open yourself up to receive a little bit more? I know sometimes everybody's relationship is different, and sometimes you might have a partner who is affectionate and maybe is a little bit playful, or will come up and tickle you, or do these little things to kind of just connect with you playfully or in an affectionate way. And sometimes you can be so busy, you're like, just stop it, I don't have time for that, I'm trying to get dinner ready, I'm trying to sort the kids, leave me alone, kind of thing. And you might, not in a way that you mean to, push them away and block yourself from being open to receive that one day. And this could be the other way around. Like you could be that person and maybe your partner blocks it a little bit. So this might open the doors for a little bit of communication here. But one day, because I know I've been there sometimes, like Tom could be a little bit playful and tickle me, and I'm like, just leave me alone, I'm trying to do this, or I'm trying to do that. And then I'll go, he's not doing it. And you're like, one day one day they'll stop. If you keep blocking it and pushing it away, one day they'll stop, and you might wish that you had it back. So just open yourself up to receive, because sometimes we can be so busy just with kids or with work or with trying to get stuff done that we forget to be playful. We forget to, or we feel like we don't have time, or we put these blocks up or these walls up because we enter this role of responsibility as a parent, as a homeowner, as a family leader, as a worker. Like we take on these roles that we lose that element of playfulness, that sometimes it's important to still open yourself up to receive that and to have that fun and connection in your relationship, and to see yourself through the eyes of love, to see yourself through the eyes of how your partner looks at you, how your children look at you, or someone, your parent, or people that you love. There's somebody in your life that loves you for you. And we can look at ourselves through all of these flaws, or look at ourselves through, oh my gosh, I've got cellulite here, or I don't like this about myself. And we create these energetic blocks without even realizing it, that we sometimes need to open ourselves up to receive love through the way that those people around us love us. Look at ourselves through the eyes of love, through the eyes of source, through the eyes of God, the eyes of spirit, and try not to judge ourselves for all of those little things that us women always criticize ourselves on, and find faults with our body, and find all of these things wrong with us, where chances are your partner doesn't even see that, or your partner just doesn't even care, or your partner just sees so much beauty in you that you're the one from blocking yourself from this intimacy and this connection, or blocking yourself from more confidence, or blocking yourself from this worth. When you start to do a little bit more inner work, you start to not see those perceived flaws, because they are only in your perspective. You're the one that sees them, you're the one that highlights them, and you're the one that creates such a big deal around these flaws in your body, that girls, you're beautiful the way you are. People love you for the way that you are. Allow yourself to be seen. Allow yourself to have this chemistry of flowing back and forward and this beautiful energy. Don't block it. Accept the love on your body. It's a mindset shift. It's a spiritual shift. It's not going to come when you're skinnier. It's not going to come when you're leaner. It's not going to come when you're fitter. All these things you're like, I'll be happy when. No, you need to learn to start being happy now with what you have now. And I know that can be hard. And I know it can be so hard to look in the mirror and feel like, I really love this about myself. And often in class, I will always at the end of class come back to some kind of, whether it's gratitude, whether it's acceptance, whether it's love, just a little message or a little reminder. And like I say to the girls in class, sometimes it's really hard to look in the mirror and go, I love this about myself. So maybe you might have to reframe it and go, what do I like about myself? What is not bad about myself? What am I okay with? What do people compliment me on? What does my partner compliment me on? Maybe I need to open myself up to look at that a little bit more and to see some beauty in myself. And it's hard because we are in this era of comparing ourselves to social media, of comparing ourselves to the ideal body. And I just saw something yesterday actually on social media about Marilyn Monroe, and they were on there about how she's, perceived as one of the most beautiful women in the world. And she had cellulite. This is what they said. I'm not saying this. This is what it said in the post, like it showed photos of her tummy rolls, photos of her, cellulite. And all you see when you look at her is beauty, this beautiful raw beauty. And society changes the way over the years of what the ideal body looks like. And we have to kind of get out of that mentality of what's the perfect body? What's the ideal body? Who cares? It's the body that you're in. And learning that you have one body to get you through life, you may as well form a partnership with it, or you can make the other flip choice to go, I'm going to fight with it for the rest of my life. Like, what's easier is to start working in unison with your body and start forming this relationship of acceptance with your body and go, I'm going to care for my body. I'm going to nourish my body. I'm going to learn to accept and love on my body. So just changing the way you look at yourself, like that famous Wayne Dyer quote. And he says, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So learning to look at yourself through the eyes of more love and beauty and acceptance. And it's work, girls. I'm not going to lie. It is work that I've been doing on myself for a long time. I'm pretty confident in myself, and I can hand on my heart say now I'm probably heavier than what I was when I was 10 years ago. I haven't weighed myself in a very long time, so I don't know, but I just, and I'm not, at a certain body fat percentage that I was back then. I don't care. For me, what's important is I have gratitude for my body. I'm grateful for the life experiences that my body gives me, and my partner loves me for who I am. So I need to learn to love myself for who I am, and it's years of working at putting the good stuff in. My psychologist friend said, he goes, the brain is hardwired for negative. We automatically go to autopilot with negativity. That it's a practice. So maybe you could every day when you get up and look in the mirror, what's one thing I'm grateful about myself? What's one thing I'm grateful for about my body when you go to bed at night? And just over time, it's like any habit, it's the power of repetition. The more you do it, the more that you will start to shift the way you look at yourself. But you have to start. You have to start by making a little change. What I've learned through the practices over the years of yoga and Pilates and breath and meditation is really becoming connected with my body, really becoming connected with getting to know my body on an intimate level. And often when you find yourself in practice, you start to feel sensations in your body. You start to honor the way you move. You start to honor what your body does. It opens you up to looking at your body with a different respect, with a different care, with a different attitude, a different mindset, but also it teaches you to communicate with your body and to learn to get in touch with your senses. So when you come into class and you're learning to move in these beautiful sensual ways that we teach you, you get to know your body on more of an intimate level. You become more spiritually connected with your body, that you just know what feels good for you. You become more connected with what what you like, with what feels good, with getting to this real beautiful, intimate relationship with your body, which helps in turn build more confidence. It helps in turn build a better, when you're confident in yourself, girls, like it ripples out into your partnership, it ripples out into your sex life, and you just have this real connection back to your body through the practice of yoga and Pilates, because that is what we are teaching you. And so these practices are really powerful to help you feel more sensual. When you're coming into meditation, you're learning to get connected with your senses. You're learning to kind of get out of your head a little bit more and get more into your body, to your breath, to your heart space, to your soul, that you can't help become more sensual in yourself. It starts to awaken your senses to different pleasures of taste, of touch, of feeling, of seeing more beauty, of hearing, that you become more mindful, you become more present, you move in certain ways, like you're in this mindful practice of movement that I've got some amazing, text me if you want some, like I've got some amazing, playlists that I keep on Spotify for those intimate moments, because you just become so connected with your body that it helps you in the bedroom, that it helps you in your confidence, it helps you in the way that you move, because you learn to embody more pleasure, you learn to embody more of the sensuality of touch. So it's a very, very beautiful practice that will help you in your marriage. And plus you get more energy, you get more toning, you get more flexibility, that always helps, you get more strength in your body, you just have more energy. You have more energy for all of the things that you want to do in life, including your sex life. So it's a massive, massive win. But not only when you start to look at yourself through the eyes of love, the eyes of source, the eyes of spirit, you start to look at your partner through, when you're doing all this inner work, you start to look at your partner more on a soul level. You have more compassion for them. You have more love for them. You have more understanding, that it strengthens the bond between you. It strengthens the partnership. So doing the inner work on yourself, it also helps with the way that you look at people around you. You have more softness, you have more compassion, you have more understanding, you have more ease and flow in your life. You don't sweat the small stuff as much. And so you don't sweat the small stuff that they do, which might annoy you. All of those little things, they just help in your relationship when you start to shift and work on yourself. One other thing that I have really found that has helped us over the years is having this energy of playfulness and having this energy of having fun like you did when you were younger. Like the floaty messages, the texts, the date nights or the dates that you used to have, or just going out and having fun, because we fall into this trap of feeling like, I had this conversation with a girl, one of the girls on retreat. She was saying you just feel like you have to be this responsible parent all the time, that you forget who you are, you forget how to have fun, you forget like that younger version of you that was spontaneous, and you fall into this trap of taking life so seriously and taking parenting so seriously because you don't want to fuck it up. And we kind of take on all of these roles that it puts us in more of a serious, responsible state, that learning to embody more of a playfulness and getting out and having some fun really helps with your relationship. So, coming back to date days, and they don't have to cost money, like we've had plenty of times where we have had dates where we have done just literally, the kids have had a sleepover and we've just had a nice intimate dinner at home, or when the kids are at school, could we catch a lunch date together or something like that. So finding those moments, those opportunities of time where it does not have to cost you money. If you can always have like a nice picnic down at the beach on a beautiful, for instance, like our anniversary last year, I said to Tom, it's like, what do you want to do? We could go away, or we had a few things going on. And I said, you know what I want to do? I just want to, let's just pack a lunch and let's just jump on the jet ski and just go over to my favorite beach in the world, over at Jumping Pin between North and South Straddie. It's a, excuse me, it's a beautiful private beach over there and it's not busy. Let's just go over there and just have lunch together. And little things like that, having a picnic on the beach, like having these time, prioritizing time for you guys together, no matter how busy life gets, is so important. We've done things like that. We have nights away every now and then. We try and get away together. We've had week holidays away together. And I know that can be hard. It depends on the situation that you have with your kids and with family around. I'm just in a very fortunate situation where my parents were young enough and able enough to look after the kids, and we've gone away on our own. And there's been times that we've gone overseas for a week. It was hard. I remember going to Vegas for our 30th, and the kids were like, what would they have been then? Around 4 and 2. And I remember getting there and crying all the way there. Like it was hard, but it just put this spark back in our relationship. We kind of got there, threw our stuff in the room, we're out, and we're like, what, kids? But at the same time, it just kind of connects you because, you get so busy being a parent that it just helps connect you back to your self as a couple that you were before kids, as those raw soul individuals that you were before you took on all the weight of the world and all the responsibility of the world. And it's important to honor those times, like even when we've been away, maybe a little bit TMI, but like we've been away before at times and gone away together, chuck your stuff in the room and you're like kind of straight in bed. And you're like, why can't we do that at home? Why do we have to be out somewhere to do that? And so I know it's not always possible, right? I know there's kids around a lot of the time, but grabbing those opportunities when you can, when the kids aren't around or at school, I don't know, it's different for everybody. We all have different times we have different work schedules, we have different commitments, but why do you have to wait for those opportunities when you go away for a fun weekend? Why can't you grab those opportunities at home? And often it's because you're tired, because you're busy, you don't make time, you're exhausted, you don't have energy, which comes back to that look after yourself. When you fall in these habits of looking after yourself, you have a little bit more energy. When you prioritize time for self-care, you prioritize yourself. You're showing yourself that you are worthy. You're showing yourself that you are worthy of taking time for you. You fill your cup up, so you have more to give to those around you, more to give as a parent, but also more to give to your partner. If you're running on empty all the time, it's really hard to give of yourself intimately, energetically, in a loving, compassionate way, because you can feel so depleted and so drained that you feel like you have nothing left to give. So really try and make sure you take time out for self-care, and self-care does not have to cost money. Self-care can be free, and I'm not going to go into that today. That's a whole other episode. But what is it for you that you can do for self-care? Because it helps you have more energy for yourself, for your partner, for your intimacy, for your connection. It is worth it, girls. Like, a hand on my heart telling you, it is absolutely worth it. Man, go on retreat and spend a week apart. Like, this was, I found from so many of the girls coming back, they're like, our marriage has shifted since I have come back. They, like one of the girls said to me, she goes, our relationship has just changed. And I said, yes, it's because you've shifted. Your energy is magnetic. Your energy is powerful. You've softened from that rat race and that exhaustion of being such a busy on the go mum all the time, that you've softened and you've taken yourself out of the mundane chores. You start to look at yourself differently. You release so much that you're less reactive to the kids at home. The energy in your household has changed. The energy in yourself has changed. You've missed your partner by being away. So I'm not saying you have to go on retreat. It was a joke, but it definitely helps. But when you spend that little bit of time apart from your partner to honor your own needs, it actually has a way of drawing you back together in this beautiful magnetic way. It can be so powerful because we come together in partnership, but we're still here on our own soul journey. We are still here to do things for ourselves. And when we connect, when we strengthen our needs in ourselves, our confidence in ourselves, just by being away and doing what we need to do. And I'm talking about you, and I'm also talking about giving your partner space to do that as well. You have an opportunity where you miss each other and you come back together. It could be a day apart, it could be a weekend, whatever it is for you. But you can just sometimes become so dependent on each other that you can't do things for yourself. And it's an easy trap to fall into. Like, I'm not telling you something that I haven't done. I've definitely been there as well. That stepping away gives you this little newfound independence, a little bit of confidence. It makes you pine for each other a little bit more. And it's actually attractive when you're not so needy and dependent on each other. When you follow your bliss and you follow your passion and your purpose and your fulfillment and what lights you up, it's actually can be really attractive to your partner, having this beautiful independent woman who knows who she is and knows what she wants, that it can actually be quite attractive to your partner. So honoring your own needs, respecting your own individual needs, and then coming together in partnership can be such a really powerful gift that you can give one another. And the spiritual practices that you do, they actually help you to accept yourself and find yourself on a deeper level so that you are more happy and more fulfilled. And that in turn ripples out into your relationship. You know, I mean, how many times do you push your partner away because you're overwhelmed or you're so stressed? I remember when my kids were little, like when they were back to like toddler age, early school age, and when Tom was at work all the time and I was at home with the kids a lot, and he would come home from work and he would be in a fine mood, you know, he would be okay. And I would be like throwing the kids at him as he comes through the door and being like, I'm sick of them. Like, I've just had enough. I'm exhausted. I'm fatigued. I just can't take any more of their whinging when I'm trying to cook dinner. We've all been there, girls. We know exactly what it feels like. That you would kind of like throw the kids at him when he walks in the door, or you might just be grumpy when he walks in the door, and you go, I've actually pushed him away. It took me a little bit of time to figure that one out, girls. And I would say to myself, you know, like, oh, I wish he was a bit more affectionate, or I wish, you know, you wish all these things, that I had to go, hang on a sec. I'm actually being a repellent here. I'm actually feeling resentful. I'm actually feeling like life's going on around me while he's out at work or he's doing things, and I'm stuck at home with the kids. Well, not stuck at home. That sounds awful, but, you know, I wanted to be at home with the kids. But, you know, you can fall in that trap sometimes where you just feel so mentally, physically, emotionally drained that you kind of push them away without even realizing, and your energy causes this bit of a repellent. And it was a lesson for me to go, you know, I have to look at my stuff. I have to go, okay, if I want him to be a little bit more affectionate, then I have to give, not from giving from the intention of wanting to receive, but giving from the intention of, you know, giving him more love, giving him more affection, giving him more compliments, more gratitude, and leading by example and just shifting my perspective, because it's so easy to get stuck in that trap of looking at what other people are doing wrong, looking at your partner and going, you know, like blaming them for they're not giving me what I want, you know, they're not giving me all of these things that I need. But looking at yourself and going, what can I shift? What can I improve on? How can I shift my energy? It takes a lot of vulnerability and a lot of strength to look at yourself and go, what's the lesson in this? What's coming back to me is a reflection. What am I not giving? What can I work on? So really looking at yourself as well. And I know the book that really helped, I've been a massive reader for years, is The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. Understanding your love language and your partner's love language. Mine is touch, physical touch. I'm a very physical, touchy person. Come home and kiss me, come home and hug me. And Tom's is acts of service. Now, before you take your mind into the gutter, I'm talking about acts of service and do nice things for him. He loves it when I do nice things for him. We had, even not so long ago, we had this discussion around, he said, I'd really love it if you would help me in the yard a lot more. And in my eyes, I was thinking, instead of being in the yard, he's happy out there. He loves doing a lot of work stuff. He can't sit still. I would rather invest my time into doing what I'm doing now, writing content, sharing podcasts, working on my business. Now, obviously that is after spending time with my family, but that's how I valued spending my time in growing my business. And he was like, why can't you come and help me out in the yard? Because then for him, it was the connection of being together and doing something together and showing him that I care about him by helping him. So going back to that love language, understands, it helps you shift your perspective to go, what is my partner's love language and what can I give them, and encourage them to understand yours. It was a very, very powerful lesson for me reading that book. There's one on kids too, The 5 Love Languages for Kids, a great read. Highly recommend reading it. And I've got 2 more points that I kind of want to finish up with. The other thing that has gone through my mind a lot probably over the last couple of years as I've gotten a lot older, and even a couple of the girls were saying this after retreat, is YOLO. You only live once. And I think it comes with age a little bit as well, that you start to think about, where are we spending our time? How we, sometimes we find we're just spending so much time working to get ahead or working for finances. Obviously we need to. Yes, we need to. But one day one of us aren't going to be here, and every now and then I would stop and think, am I going to look back if something happened to one of us? Because I've seen friends, I've seen people I know who have lost a partner in a tragic accident that may have had everything, financial, all the stuff, and then their partner's just gone in an instant. And I think one day one of us aren't going to be here, and we are going to wish that we spent more time together, and we are going to wish that we had more intimacy and more connection, and we are going to wish that we had more fun and truly live. So don't put off your dates. Don't put off your weekends away. Don't put the chores to the side and just go and spend time together of an evening connecting and talking. And don't take each other for granted, because it's easy to get stuck in the energy of stubbornness or pride or ego or blame of who's right and who's wrong, and let things fester sometimes. Sometimes we just have to let shit go and not sweat the small stuff as much, and just accept people for who they are. Accept your partner for who they are. And when you start to look at them through those different eyes and look at them through this precious time that we have here together and not take each other for granted, it makes you realize we just need to have more fun and more connection, and really enjoy the time that we have got together, because we are blessed. We are truly blessed. And also, I look at things a little bit differently in terms of sex can be a really taboo topic. Like, I look at it like we are here as a soul having a physical experience in this human body, and we want to get the most out of life and the most out of our experiences being in this physical body. And I really feel like sex it's a sacred, physical, intimate experience. It's a gift that we can give ourselves on many levels. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And if we strip back, like, I'll give you an example here, just even talking to the kids, even talking to Riley, for instance. Riley's a little bit older, and I talk to both the kids openly about I've always had an open relationship with the kids right from when they were young, as talking to them about sex, intimacy, relationships, love. Tom and I have always been quite, we've kiss and hug and things like that in front of the kids, because we want them to grow up to go, and I understand every household is different, okay? I understand that. I'm just speaking from us to go, this is what we value, and this is important to us, for the kids to kind of grow up so that they have that same maybe expectancy, or just the memories of that's how mum and dad kind of were. And I look at, so we've had very deep conversations with the kids over the years, and obviously sometimes it can be harder to talk to a boy, right? But I'm still quite open with the kids. Sometimes I just catch him in the car when he can't jump out the car door and talk to him about different things. But and he is quite probably a little bit more connected to Tom and can talk to Tom a little bit more in that way. So I'm just going to speak to you about a couple of things that I've spoken to with Riley about. And like I would say to her, I said, when you strip back, this is how I look at it, right? So when you strip back your roles as mother, daughter, as whatever role that you carry, we're all having a human experience. We're in this human body having a human experience. And I would talk to Riley sometimes and I would say to her, like, just forget I'm your mum, forget the daughter. Just, I want you, as you grow up, I want you to have a beautiful, sensual, intimate sex life as you go through life, because you're not going to be my little girl all the time. You are going to grow up into a woman, and I want you to have a really beautiful experience in your partnership, and have a really loving, beautiful experience in your sex life as well. So I would openly talk to her about different things, and sometimes she would be like, oh my God, mom, like that's just way too much information. There's some things she didn't, some things she didn't want to hear. And we have funny conversations. I remember her coming to me when she was younger and asking me a question about something that she'd heard at school or somewhere along the lines of something that somebody had done, or she basically wanted to know, is this like a normal thing? Do people actually do this? And she's like, so do you and dad do this? And I'm like, do you want to know the answer to that? And she's like, no. I said, well, don't ask the question. But she's always, my point about that is she's been quite open to come to me or to Tom and talk openly about a lot of different things. And so kind of having those channels open to discuss these things with your kids, I have found has really, really helped. And there's definitely been times that we've been talking and she's like, okay, TMI, I'm leaving now. And she's like walked out the door. It's been pretty funny. But I just want them to understand that we are in this physical body having a physical experience, and we just want to try and have the best experience that we can. And it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing that every human being is going to go through in different ways. Yes, I understand that. Different circumstances, I understand that. But I want to set them up with the expectancy that, it can be a really wonderful experience, but also talking to them about the connection of love and intimacy and knowing their worth and having boundaries and having respect and for the other person, and just really talking to them about the whole relationships. And I've gone off topic here, but that's how I look at things, as like in this kind of human experience that we're having. And it changes the way I guess I share a little bit of my perspective. But getting back to wrap things up, taking care of yourself, getting to know yourself, stripping back the layers of ego and those limiting beliefs, and living authentically and getting more connected with the spiritual stuff, with that spiritual side of you, is all going to have a direct impact on your worth, on your confidence, on your energy, on your health, and it's all going to impact your relationships. And maybe just asking, as I leave you with these last couple of questions, asking yourself, can I improve on this area of my life? So I'm talking about your intimacy and your sex life or your relationship. Can I improve on this area of my life? Pretty sure you can. We all can. We can all improve in some way. And asking yourself, what can I do differently? What's not working? What do I need to change? Maybe looking at blocks that you've got coming up for yourself. Maybe looking at the energy you're putting out into the household. Maybe looking at, am I taking the best care of myself? Do I need to do a little bit more work on myself? Can I take better care of my body? Can I let go of some stress and some tension? Because all of those things impact your health. They impact your relationships. So just asking yourself, what can I do differently? And know that you doing the inner work is going to have a direct impact on your partner. It's going to have a direct impact on what you teach your kids. They are going to learn from you indirectly. Often as a woman, as a mother, we carry this dominant energy in the household. So the more you can take care of yourself and the more you can better yourself and become more connected with yourself, you lead by example, and you just can't help but affect your partner in that way too. And I've had a lot of women come to me and just say, I can't believe the difference in our relationship, or the difference in the way my partner's softened or is more understanding, because they started doing the work on themselves first. So I want to leave that with you, and I wish everyone the most amazing intimate relationship and health and connection and love in all relationships, in all areas of your life, but most importantly with yourself. I'll leave that with you. Have a beautiful day, angels. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode and want more, feel free to follow or subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. You can also head over to earthyangels.com or join our private Facebook group, Earthy Angels Connect, for more community, blogs, updates, inspo, motivation, support, and to connect with a tribe of like-minded souls. And if you have a moment, we would be super grateful if you would love to leave a review. Sending you so much light and love, Angel.